Brought to you by Allstate, whose policies now include protection for your home, your family, as well as your car. You're in good hands with Allstate. And now, let's all play What's My Line?
Now let's meet our award-winning panel of What's My Line. First, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And I would like to introduce a gentleman who has made the effort of flying all the way from California, where he is televising a new series called Kane's 100, just to be here to spend this weekend, Father's Day weekend, with his family. And I'm part of it, thank goodness. Mr. Martin Gabel.
On my left, a girl who's staying home for the first summer in many years to do a new book for the man on her left, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
You all may think that the feudal system has been abolished, but actually there are serfs living in Mount Kisco, and here's one of them, Bennett.
Well, for 12 years now, ladies and gentlemen, we've been carrying on a relentless guerrilla warfare with our panel moderator, and we finally found a way to keep a couple of jumps ahead of him. We played checkers with him. And here he is, John Charles Daly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Father's Day, as you all know. And had it been possible, Martin and Bennett and I would probably have formed a conspiracy tonight, but we don't feel we can do that. So we'll just go to our usual practice, which is to make it as difficult for the panel as possible, and I think we have the occupations with which we can do that singular thing again tonight. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before the panel a little bit later in the program, and we'll meet our first challenge. And now let's meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? James B. Swindoll, right? Swindoll, where are you from?
Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham, Alabama. Right. Nice to have you with us. May I present the panel? Swindoll, will you join me over here? Do you know how we keep score, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right. In that event, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. Panel, we can tell you that Mr. Swindoll is salaried, that he deals in a service. And Arlene, because you're going to leave us and go away to Germany tomorrow and be away for several weeks.
Yes.
I don't want to be hard on you, so you start the general question.
Are you going to be very gentle with me all night tonight?
Yeah, just about as gentle as I just have been. Will you start the general question?
Oh, that's not gentle enough. Well, Mr. Swindoll, do you work for a non-profit-making organization?
Yes, I do.
Are you a member of some government agency?
Yes, I am.
Is it the state government as opposed to federal?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go. Mr. Gabel.
You then work for the federal government, Mr. Swindoll.
That is right.
Are you stationed in the state of Alabama in the course of your work?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Does your work ever take you to Washington?
Pardon?
Does your work ever take you to Washington, D.C.?
Yes, it does.
Do you spend most of your time there, your working time?
Yes, I believe so.
Do you have anything to do with the President of the United States?
Yes, I do.
Are you a Secret Service man?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Swindoll, in the work that you do in Washington, are you ever in close contact with the president at the White House?
No, not at the White House.
Small question.
That's touching.
You know. Bennett, I must say that, to be fair to you, we have to say that it would not be unreasonable to expect that our guest might be at the White House, just in the course of the normal routine of the responsibilities which he bears.
Well, might
However,
I go on then?
since you phrased it in contact with the president there in the White House, we have to give you a no. I'm terribly sorry. And how is our guerrilla warfare going now?
It's getting more relentless.
Getting more guerrilla-like all the time. Miss Francis.
Nevertheless, the relationship is with the President of the United States. That was settled
Yes.
upon, was it not? Does Mr. Swindoll bear any title besides Mr.?
Yes.
Would the title ever be Doctor?
No.
That's 5 down and 5 to go. Mr. Gabel.
Mr. Swindoll, you have an appointive office rather than an elective one, is that right?
Yes, that's true.
And you're in the executive branch of the government. Do you have anything to do with the president's leaving the White House at any time, for example?
Well, I would say he plays some part in, if the president decides to leave the White House, I think it's fair to say that on some occasions Mr. Swindoll has something to do with, say, the pattern and course of his going thereafter.
I see. Do you perform a function which is, say, manual as well as mental in regard to the president's movements?
So, yes.
Is there a vehicle connected with what you do, Mr. Swindoll?
There is.
Do you either drive or pilot for the president?
That is right.
Must I make a choice of one of those two?
Yes.
Well, if the past is any guide to the present, I always make the wrong choices, one of two. So I'll say you drive for the president.
That's very good, Martin. 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you the pilot of the Caroline?
Yes, indeed. And Martin, what tickles me most about that is that you've flown all the way back from the coast to come here and be here for Father's Day and to be with Arlene before she leaves for Germany tomorrow. And I thought, well, he's got to go for pilot. He just got out of an aeroplane a little while ago.
John, except in my marriage, I've had no instinct for success in my life.
What a wonderful sentence. Thank you. Well, let's now be formal and say Lieutenant Colonel James Swindoll, United States Air Force, who is in charge of a group of some 200 men who
Yes,
who are responsible for the president's safety and his conveyance through the air, and who pilots the Caroline when the president is going.
well, it's actually not the Caroline. The Caroline is the family airplane. We fly the Air Force airplanes.
Ah, I see.
There's a little difference there.
Well, you mean when the president went to Paris and Vienna and London, what did you use? You used a standard United States Air Force,
yes.
707.
That's
with,
right.
the Glockenspiel, Murgatroyd, and the Pfannigstaffe, and the stuff that pushes behind. Is that right?
That's true.
Well, I studied aircraft when I was a boy. That's why I know all these technical terms. When you get the Glockenspiel in one of those airplanes, it's really quite an experience, isn't it?
That's right.
It sends people on their heads. Now, I think it goes without saying that Lieutenant Colonel Swindoll would not be in his present responsible position if there were not a previous history. He was not only a pilot in World War II when you flew the hump, I believe.
That's true, yes.
And that was about as nasty a flying job as ever
Good
was
experience.
conjured up. Great experience, yes. Did you have those 46s to go
Yes,
up with?
that's true.
And they would just barely get over the top of the highest mountain. And then you were also, I believe, in the Korean conflict, too.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Well, sir, you bear a grave responsibility flying the president around, and you have, as I'm sure you've probably been told before, and as we all know, the graciousness which seems to have come into the White House, particularly with the new first family. It was there with the old first family, but the young new Kennedy family has captured the imagination of the country. And congratulations for being a part of it. It's nice to have you with us. You could have left your husband, you know, out on the coast, Arlene. You didn't have to do this. Let's see what we can do with our second challenger. Will you enter and sign in, please? Mrs. Robert Haig? Haig. Haig. Mrs. Haig, where are you from?
Delray Beach, Florida.
Delray Beach, Florida.
Yes.
May I present our panel, Mrs. Haig? Would you join me over here? Do you know how we keep score, Mrs. Haig?
Yes, I do.
Oh, fine. Then let's let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we will tell you that Mrs. Haig is self-employed, deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett Cerf.
Mrs. Haig, do you perform your service in or near Delray, Florida?
Sometimes.
Does it have anything to do with something that is conducted outdoors?
Yes.
Is the water connected in any way with your service?
No.
Small service, small conference.
You're going to render us a small service. I'm sure. Very small.
In a way.
Do you perform any feat of physical dexterity in the service that you perform?
Yes.
Would it consist of combat of any kind with a human being or animal?
No.
Well, now, here with your permission, Bennett, when you say combat, do you mean physical contact?
Yes, I'm afraid I do.
Thank you very much, Bennett. That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Frank.
Do you have something to do with the animal kingdom, Mrs.
No.
Haig?
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Are there human beings that come to you for your service?
Sometimes.
And sometimes you go to them?
Yes.
Yes. That's to give you an evidence of the ratiocination of my mind. Thank you, Bill.
Wow. Oui.
Do you give advice with your service?
Sometimes.
Do you physically improve the people for whom you perform your service?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do both men and women take advantage of your services? Yes. Could children, too? Yes. Do you have anything in your hands when you are performing this service? Yes. Is it something other than people? Yes. Inanimate objects? Yes. Are they objects that are used in any game or sport? Yes. Is it a team sport? No.
Small conference.
Play doubles.
Yes. Tennis can be a team sport. Tennis can be a team sport. It's part of the Davis Cup team. Sometimes. Is it a game that can be played indoors and outdoors?
Is it a game that can be played in its completeness indoors and outdoors?
Oh.
Now, what I'm thinking here of, Dorothy, is there are many games that you play outdoors, you know, that you could, to some degree, practice a part of it indoors, and we don't want to mislead you.
No, well, that wasn't really what I meant. I meant, could it be played completely indoors? So I guess I get a no.
You get a no. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Haig, would the game be golf?
Yes.
Are you a champion of some sort in golf?
Well,
Yes.
Just win the women's tournament?
pardon
And
me?
won a big tournament very recently, did you not?
Not very recently.
That's a no. That's 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Francis. What is it we're looking for?
Well, I don't know. I presume Miss Haig may be a golf pro, therefore.
That's right, a professional golfer. Fine. Actually, I think you would all know her immediately as Marlene Bauer,
Oh, yeah.
who has a sister named Alice, and many years ago, do you remember this? Andy Heiskill from Life magazine and John Daly, who was a broken-down old type from radio and television, were invited to play in a tournament, and we wound up as partners to the Bauer sisters, and it was very embarrassing. I think I had 116, and Marlene had a 72 or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yes,
It was
I
many,
certainly
many
do.
years ago, but we had a wonderful day together, and I must say both you and your sister have managed to electrify, I think, the interest that women have in golf, because you're both such magnificent golfers.
Thank you very much.
Your husband is also a fine professional golfer, as I remember, isn't
Yes, well, he doesn't play on the tour.
he? He doesn't play on the tour,
No.
but he's a very fine... I think he could beat me. And I know he can beat Bennett. That's for absolute
Everybody
sure.
can beat me.
Well, you're going to play next in the, what is it, Baldersall? Is that our big golf course in New Jersey? Then?
Yes, the National Open, Women's National
And
Open.
when is that going to be?
That would be the week after next.
I played that course. I have a friend on the name Charlie Smith from New Jersey, and we played that course, and they have a famous water hole. Do you know that one? You want to know what happened to me when I played it?
Don't tell me. I'll be thinking about it when I play.
Well, you do. You know, this is one of, I think I got 116 that day, but I got to this famous water hole, which is really a bête noire for professionals. Teed up the ball, took my club, pounced it, boom, right on the green.
Oh, well,
So you do that when you play
Okay.
it, too. Nice to have you with us, Marlene, and give my regards to your good sister and dear husband. Nice to have you. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from us. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which my good friends on the panel are always blindfolded, as you know. The blindfolds in place, panel?
yes, John.
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of the mystery challenger, we go to the different pattern of questioning. You ask one question at a time in turn, moving clockwise, and we'll begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you primarily a movie star?
Francis X. Bushman used to get me a glass of water.
Is that a yes?
Well,
Francis X. Bushman used to get me a glass of water.
I think it's such a difficult area, Dorothy, because of the many-sided and many-faceted talents of our guests that I don't think we can say primarily no. So we'll give you 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Have you been for many years a famous radio and television star?
Yes, but I'm still speaking to Jerry Lewis.
Miss Francis?
Are you primarily a comedian?
I've been trying to answer that question for a lot of years.
Mr. Gabel?
Is your program on the air through the summer?
No, but I'm rehearsing. I'm ready to work.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you have any connection with the world of popular music?
Yes, Perry Como cut my hair.
That's really a no. 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Have you a wife who is a lot stupider on the air than she is in private life?
You're pretty hot.
Are you George Burns?
Yes, you guessed it.
Actually, George was in the Perry Como show.
I just finished it tonight.
And what happened?
Well, I'll tell you what happened at lunch today. I thought it was so funny. They gave me a half hour off to eat. So I ran over to the St. Regis Hotel. I got there at 12
I like
o'clock.
where you go for those snacks.
Well, Gracie is a very rich woman. And I went to the St. Regis Hotel, and I got in there, and I had on a sports shirt, and I couldn't get in because you have to wear a tie. So I said to the captain, will you let me have your tie? I'm just going to sit down. He knew me. He said, sure. He took off his tie. I put it on. And I said, I'll have a chicken sandwich and a martini. And he says, you can't have a martini. We don't serve any liquor until 1 o'clock Sundays. I said, look, if you don't give me a martini, I'll tell them you haven't got a tie on, and they'll throw you out. I didn't get my martini. But I've still got his tie. It's a nice tie.
That's what I was going to ask you. What happened to the necktie? That's wonderful. Have you called Jack Benny lately?
Yes, I called Gracie. I spoke to her tonight. I told her that I got a big thrill today because on the Como show, there was Lena Horne. And the three of us sang together. And that was nice because I love to sing. In fact, I've got my orchestrations backstage in case you've got some music here.
Sing, sing, sing.
Bennett can whistle. Well, I don't think we ought to rush into this, George. What did you sing with Lena Horne?
Well, I sang In the Heart of a Cherry. These are songs I made famous. Tiger Girl.
Tiger Girl?
Tiger Girl. I'll be waiting for you, Bill, when you come back from San Juan Hill. Which everybody whistled in Altoona.
Could you sing a bit of Tiger Girl for us?
Tiger Girl. It's in minor. I need violins for that.
What about I'll be waiting for you, Bill, when you come back from San Juan Hill?
You just sang the whole song.
I sang the whole song.
But I tell you, I'm singing this. Can I plug a little bit the little thing I'm going to do?
Plug your head.
I'm going to Vegas July the 11th for 4 weeks, and I've got some very good songs.
Is Gracie going to be on the show with you?
Oh no, Gracie's
She's retired.
In fact, she's retired. When I got on the plane, she wouldn't even kiss me goodbye.
Even though Father's Day was coming up?
No, I spoke to her. She's having dinner with Jack and Mary tonight. They're going to watch the show.
Have you talked to Jack on the phone lately?
No.
Actually, I don't know where I came by this, but somewhere or the other, I can remember being convulsed at lunch, or it may have been watching the Jack Parr show, which you were on. But you had a habit at one time of calling Jack, didn't you, and just getting in the middle of a conversation and hanging up?
It started out when we were this is about 35 years ago. I would talk to Jack, and I hung up in the middle of the conversation, and that made Jack laugh. You know, Jack laughs at a red hat. So, I hung up the phone, and he laughed. And then he laughed, so I hung it up again. But then it ceased to get funny, you know? So then I didn't hang up the phone, and he thought I was mad at him. So now, this is going on for 35 years. I still have to hang up the phone. I hate doing the bit, but I got to do it, or he thinks I don't love him.
But what were the conversations, George?
Well, they were silly crap. I'll tell you one thing about hanging up the phone. He bet Benny Rubin once in Chicago that I would hang up the phone on him. And they bet $25, and then Benny Rubin came downstairs and said to me, Jack is going to call you on the phone. I bet him $25, and you're supposed to hang up. And if you don't hang up, if you hang up, I lose the bet. I says, don't worry about it. So Jack called me on the phone, and he spoke, and he talked, and I talked, and he talked, and he said, aren't you going to hang up? I says, no, I got half of Benny Rubin's bet.
I say, George, that I think the people of Las Vegas are lucky to have you coming for 4 weeks. I wish we had you for 18 weeks. Nice to have you with us. Well, I must admit, panel, you've done very well tonight. Well, I noted for the record a bit earlier this evening that Arlene is going to leave on Monday and go to Europe, where she will be for several weeks. I think it goes without saying that all of us are going to miss her, and I'm sure that is not only a voice that speaks for our panel and for the production people on What's My Line, but all of you who are viewers at home and you are viewers in the theater. So, Miss Arlene, may I say, bon voyage, much happiness and success over there, and come back as soon as you can. And good night, Miss Arlene Pratt.
Thank you, John. Thank you. I'll miss you all desperately, but you I'll see you in München, mein Führer.
Send me a wire when you arrive, Arlene.
Yes. Good night, John.
Good night. I'll do you St. Arlene.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, Bennett.
Be careful not to go on the wrong side of that Brandenburg Gate, Arlene.
Don't worry.
John, I do hope you'll be with us next week, won't you?
I'll be here.
Well, that's
Thank you,
fine,
Bennett.
that's fine.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line has been brought to you by Allstate, whose policies now include protection for your home, your family, as well as your car. You're in good hands with Allstate.